Good day, good night. I would like to share another testimony of what God had did for me. Not even at the beginning of the year, but also before the new year had came in. So in 2017 was a rough year for me. I used to get attacked a lot and so forth through witchcraft, through all kind of things. In my dreams, demons, all kind of things. I was just demonically oppressed, right? And there were times where I would get sick of because of it. Stomach aches, headache, chest aches, just about any ache in the body I get. There were times I got sick. There was a time where a witch even came to me in my dream and said that she was gonna kill me. But in the dream I told her I will not die in the name of Jesus. And a couple of weeks later, they did actually try to kill me. But because God allowed me to rebuke the lady in the dream, it did not come to pass. So I did get really sick. But then I recovered because God did not, it was not my time. And so God kept me. And so all through the year was sickness on and off because I would get prayed for and I would pray and God would heal me. And then they would just come and do it all over again in 2017. And so finally the end of the year came and I was feeling much better. Everything was good. Everything was okay until one day, all of a sudden, I had this pain in my womb, and I bled, but it was like a drop and a blood clot. So I thought my period was coming on. So I didn't. It hurt, and I almost fainted. I don't even understand. It's like my blood pressure dropped. It just happened out of nowhere for no reason. And for some reason, I felt like I was going to faint. So I had to take it easy and pray. And then I stopped bleeding. It's just like a few drops and blood. A little bit of blood and stopped bleeding. So I didn't think that much of it. A couple of days later, the bleeding started again. And so by that time, I had God was starting to lead me into fast, into fast. So I did a 1-day, 24-hour dry fast. And coming to the end of the dry fast, or during the half day of the dry fast, the bleeding started again with more pain, and this time more blood. And then it would bleed for like an hour, 2 or 3, and then it stopped. So I thought, this is so strange. Then finally, that Sunday, so it was like a Friday, that Sunday, the bleeding started again. But this time, it would come and go throughout the rest of the days. So I decided to go on a 3-day fast from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. But however, on the third day of the fast, it seemed like the bleeding only increased. So I was confused. I did not understand what was going on. I was feeling weak because I was losing blood. The blood would start and stop, and I didn't understand what it meant and why it was happening to me. It didn't make no sense, right? And sometimes it would be pain to go to the bathroom and pee sometimes. I couldn't understand it. And my womb would hurt sometimes. It would be pain going through my womb. And it just couldn't explain it. And so I was just asking God, I don't understand why this is happening. Why does this happen? I'm praying and I'm going on these fasts and it seems like it's only getting worse. And so that Thursday I was just basically crying because I was thinking to myself, I'm going to bleed out, I'm going to die, and they're never going to find the cause in time, and the cause of it in time, and so forth, and I just didn't know what to do. So God had given a dream to my husband that I was going to get the healing, but the healing was only going to come through an exchange of money. And at first I was thinking to myself, God, what is the exchange of money? I couldn't understand. Am I going to have to go to a doctor? Am I going to have to pay to be healed? That doesn't make any sense. God gives healing for free. So later that night, he helped me to understand the healing, because I remember a post on Facebook that someone had posted that faith is like a currency in heaven. It's like money. In order to get services from God, you have to show him faith that you believe. He said, whatever you believe, it shall be given unto you. So he understood that the faith in the dream, the money in the dream was my faith. In order for to get the healing, I had to show God, give him faith. faith. I had to believe that he could heal me. And so that night, I ended up finding a YouTube video, the first YouTube video on YouTube. It says, if God called you to fast, fast. So this time I decided to go on a 3-day water fast, which ended up turning into a 3-day dry fast, which is only possible by the hands of God. Because I don't even know how I finish it, but God gave me the strength to finish that fast. And so I went into the 3-day fast. Before I went in, I said, God, please sanctify me. This time I want to do it right. Please sanctify me for this fast. And I said, help me to do this, oh God. And so I woke up. I started the fast at 6 a.m. that morning. When I woke up, I didn't even get up to pray yet. I didn't even get up to pray, petition with God yet for this healing. As of yet. And this is all before the New Year's. This is a couple days before the New Year's. Like a couple days. Literally. And a week or so before the US or so, something like that. And so I didn't even get up to, to pray yet. And I realized that the bleeding had already slowed down. So the fact that I had already entered a fast, right, to be obedient to God, God had already started the healing. And so I began to pray. And every day I would pray God's word on healing and ask God to heal me. Each day the bleeding would slow down more and more until the third day it had completely stopped. So by the third day, only old blood was really coming out. Fresh blood. It's just old blood that was remaining in the womb that was coming out. And so I was happy. And there was some strange things happened in this fast. On the first day of fast, I remember that afternoon I was feeling so hungry and so thirsty because I started out to be a water fast, but I ended up turning not to drink water at all. No food, no water. And so, because I was desperate. And so I remember falling asleep. And when I was waking up from a dream, it tastes like someone was pouring water into my mouth. And so I got scared. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on this fast and they're trying to make me sick and keep me sick. And I got scared. But I realized that when I woke up, after tasting this water in my mouth, I had energy. Instead of feeling sick and feeling like, oh, I feel sick, I had energy. And I wasn't hungry anymore. Neither was I thirsty. It's like whoever gave me this water, it wasn't like to do evil. And so all that came to me was when Jesus said, whoever drinks of the water, this water, shall thirst again, but whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst, right? So all I can remember feeling is a lot of strength. And I thank God because later I had an attack and I need that strength to pray. And if I was hungry, I wouldn't have the strength to pray. And so the next day I had really bad gas pain, and I remember going to the bathroom. And I remember saying I was hungry and I'm in pain. And I was saying, God help me, I'm in pain because there's so much gas in my body trying to get out because of no food in my system. And so I remember walking back into my room, and he said, just go walk. And I was like, I just walked, it didn't help. So I decided to listen, and as I went to walk, all of a sudden the gas pain subsided, and plus I gained strength. Because you know why? Because God spoke. And when you do something, when God tells you to do it, it makes the difference. When you do it, because like I said, I was walking already, so it didn't work. But when I did it, when God told me did it, there was a difference. So the third day, God had warned me that the devil wanted to keep me sick. He wanted to delay or stop my healing. And so later that day, someone had brought me some food. And I thought it was strange that the person would bring me some food. And something told me not to eat the food, so I didn't. I put it in the fridge. Of course I didn't, because I was on the last day of my fast. And so I said I'll eat it after the fast. I'll put it away for tomorrow, heat it up or something like that for dinner. But something told me don't eat it, so I just put it in the fridge. I said I'll wait for my husband to come home and pray over it to see where two of us hearing the same thing, that we should not eat it. But when I put the food in the fridge, all of a sudden I started having really bad chest pain. And all of a sudden, it just came out of nowhere. My chest would hurt. And it was getting worse and worse. And feel like something was stinging my chest. And I was praying and praying and praying, but nothing seemed to be working. Until finally the thought came back in my head. Do not eat the food. Throw it away. Right? So I took the food. I threw it away. When I did that, all of a sudden, the pain and the tightness that felt like it was around my chest had left. I don't know what was in that food to do that. But all I know is that God had warned me that the devil was going to try it. But it failed. And it was a good thing I was on the fast, because on the fast, I was able to hear God just a little bit more clearer than I usually would. And he kept me from that. So I thank God for that. So after the fast, I realized that the bleeding had stopped. But immediately after my 3-day fast, I got sick. I got sick in the stomach, real sick in my stomach. And I didn't understand. I said, okay, God had just healed me from the bleeding. Now I'm sick again. And I remember just praying and praying. And I couldn't understand why I'm being attacked like this. It was just 1 minute I'm okay, now it is again, and I couldn't understand why am I being attacked like this so constantly. And so I finally, after praying and the sickness wouldn't feel like it wasn't letting up. At one point I almost passed out. It felt like I almost was gonna pass out if I didn't stop walking and sit down and catch myself. It was so bad. And so I decided to put my hands on my stomach and prayed in tongues. Because I know there are times when I prayed in tongues and I was sick or feeling confused, it would break. So I did that for like 3-4 hours. I just prayed in tongues for 3-4 hours. The next day, I was feeling a lot better. And slowly from that day forward, I got better and better. But it didn't stop there. After I got better, then I had an attack, And it was just attacks after attacks as it got closer to the New Year's, because the devil knew what God was gonna do, right? But I knew. I didn't really honestly didn't know, but I knew. I kind of knew because he promised me he was gonna heal me completely. So I knew, but I didn't fully know. But the devil knew, and what he was trying to do was discourage me. And so that Friday before the New Year's came in, God actually gave me a dream where he arrested the spirit of fear, right? Because fear and faith cannot coexist. So in order for my healing, I needed faith. So he had to take out fear. And so I remember thinking, I finally got my healing from that sickness, then the bleeding. And now, again, my stomach hurts for no reason again. And I said, oh, the devil's just wailing on me. God, please deliver me. I can't do it anymore. I'm too tired. I've been praying and fasting for a week or so. For a week or so now. And I'm tired. I'm not having strength to fight anymore. And so the very next day, I got a call in the morning at 7 a.m. God had sent his prophet to come and pray for me. He called me and he said God wanted him to pray for, I think, 18 people, and I was the first on the list. And he said, be ready for your complete deliverance and healing. So he began, my stomach is hurt at the time when he called now, and I was just like, okay. And he began to pray and as he began to pray, all of a sudden the stomach, I felt like movement in my body, because they was feeding me in my dreams. My wombs would hurt a little bit still sometimes, even though it was already healed. And he said, God is going to give you a new womb, and God is going to heal you, and God is going to deliver you from those demons that they deposit into your body. And as he was praying, the atmosphere got real light, real cool, real light. I'm talking about like you could almost float. And God did heal me, and God delivered me as well. And he said, do not speak of your enemies no more. You have no more enemies. Your enemies are no more. Do not speak of it. Do not speak of it anymore. And so after he prayed for me, I felt so good. I had so much energy. I didn't know when last I felt like this. I felt so good. And God had finally delivered me completely, healed me as a New Year's present, as a New Year's gift. My first miracle for 2018, deliverance and healing, complete restoration. Like he promised, he promised me that he will restore my health, and he did, right on time. And he said, you don't have any enemies. He said, you are to love. You have no enemies no more. You are to love. Love your enemies, because you don't have any enemies no more. So to think of it that way. So up the devil would try to make me think, I would get pain later that day. You try to make me think I didn't get healed, but I would rebuke and I said, it is done. Devil, you are a liar. It is done, and the pain will go away, because I know God said he has healed me. Therefore, he has healed me. And sometimes the devil will try to make you feel like you are not healed, but you have to understand that God has the power and the devil does not. God has full authority. The devil cannot exalt himself above God. He tried before he was kicked out of heaven. Who is he? If God says they shall fight against you and they shall not prevail, for I am with thee, I shall deliver you, Jeremiah 1:19, then he will. And he has delivered me. And so I just want to share this with someone who is hoping for God for healing and deliverance. Set a day for fasting. Ask God to deliver you. Ask God to heal you. Ask God to make a way. Humble yourself. He said, if you humble yourselves until the almighty hand of God, in due time he will exalt you. He said, if you humble yourself, my people which shall call by my name humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and forgive them their sins and heal the land. If you humble, it's all about humbling yourself. And the only way you can do that is through a fast, because you afflict the soul in order to hear from God. So if you feel like, you've been praying to God for a certain thing for so long, and you feel like he hasn't answered you, go on a fast and humble yourself before him and petition with him. You don't need to yell at him. You don't need to shout at him. Just talk with him. Ask him to forgive. Make sure you repent and ask him to forgive you of all your sins and all your unrighteousness. And God is faithful and just to establish you and to keep you from all evil. For if he has done it for me, he will certainly do it for you. And so be encouraged. And God bless.